I think in my research days, I was very much involved in helping all of us in the Great Lakes community and nationally understand the role of the atmosphere in delivering toxic substances to the Great Lakes. And we were able to convince a lot of folks that the atmosphere was the major contributor in many instances to mercury and to lead, among other things, and the atmosphere was also the important vector when it came to PCBs. When it came to PCBs, it got much more complicated because the direction of flux went both ways, both up and down, and we were able to show that. So scientifically, to me, that was very satisfying. The second part of scientifically was the fact that the University of Wisconsin and at the time, the water chemistry laboratory was a major force in developing tools to predict the behavior of these substances. And we spent a lot of times refining analytical techniques and contributed very heavily to the knowledge of the physicochemical properties of these very, very toxic substances. In terms of my time here at Sea Grant, I think probably one of the most satisfying aspects of that is that we have been able to attract top-notch talent to the program in the outreach, in the communication, in the IT areas. I think we have probably the best and the brightest in all of the program, which is reflected in the fact that we get reviewed very highly every year. Another area which I think I'm very proud of in that it was from the University of Wisconsin that we really started getting the national office organized in terms of how to approach science by suggesting that we should look at thematic areas and elevate our visibility nationally via thematic areas rather than saying that we're Sea Grant, which everybody kind of looked at you and said, huh, what's that? But rather we became associated with thematic areas and issues such as fisheries, such as contaminants, such as aquaculture and so forth. And that was actually came out of Wisconsin and the approach we had. Another area that we were very, very on the forefront of were in reviewing proposals. We probably instituted a proposal review process that has been copied by everybody in the national program. And finally, we were the first folks who got involved in the application of information technology. I remember I was in Washington and went to a AAAS meeting, and they were talking about Mosaic. And I said, what is that? Well, it's this new idea that you could put all kinds of information out there that everybody could access. And Mosaic, of course, was the forerunner to Netscape, which is a browser. And then, of course, Internet Explorer and Firefox that took over as other browsers. But Mosaic was the first one, and we had actually a website in Mosaic up when it was just a toddler in terms of programs. So these are some of the things. In terms of also in science, I think that we maintain higher standards. We have contributed greatly to a number of areas in risk assessment of contaminants to the Great Lakes in terms of understanding fish bioenergetics. And this has been very satisfying. Quite frankly, I'm kind of a IT junkie. That's one of the benefits of having these jobs. You have these really great talents, and I can go in and they teach me about state of knowledge in this area all the time, and it's just quite exhilarating still to sort of be on the technical edge of how to push out information out there to folks in general, not only to scientists but to friends and people who are interested in what we're doing. I plan on continuing in science as I retire from the Sea Grant, but probably what I obviously will miss the most is interacting with really talented people who are really raring to go and who want to be involved and who are pushing the envelope in the various areas, not only in science but in communications, in IT, and in advisory services. To be surrounded by just a great cast is I'm really going to miss that, and that's probably the area that will be the largest hole. Well, I hope we have left the program in really good shape. So, however, it's obvious that the biggest challenge is to maintain adequate funding. The funding resources are shrinking. It appears almost every day. And the amount of time and effort that you spend on just maintaining funding has increased almost exponentially in the last few years. And so there is no doubt that that will be the biggest challenge to maintain and to expand the program in terms of financial resources.